poked away, picked up by Andre from three-quarters, and he hit it! He had his eyes on the prize and let it fly!
Happy New Year, all you animals. Another episode of the Tanndemonium Sports Show, broadcasting live exclusively every Tuesday evening, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch TV. Go to twitch.tv/Vendetta Sports Media. Proud member of the Vendetta Sports Media Podcasting Networks. Go to vendettasportsmedia.com for all of our content. With me, as always, Bryan, the host of this show, is the co-host of the Stars, Memphis Grizzlies aficionado / inside man of the Memphis Grizzlies, Jackson Law. J Law, how are you?
Good. And it's funny that you mentioned that about the Grizzlies, because I'm actually taking my little brother to a game later this month, and I just got the ticket, so I'm accepting.
It's a freaking mogul.
I'm accepting them
mogul
real quick and adding them to my Apple Wallet.
Nice.
So that way, they are there. They are there. Sweet. We're set. Awesome.
And joining us, our first guest of the new year, Vendetta Sports Media writer. We have been making use, if you've been following us all football season, we have been making use of his weekly articles, the storylines and takeaways from the weeks of the NFL. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome Murphy. Murph, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great, Brian.
All right, good. Glad to have you here because now we don't need another hero. So, Max, so tell now all of our viewers know you as the guy whose articles that we're always using when we talk NFL. But tell everyone a little bit about you. How long have you been with Vendetta? When did you start writing this article, this weekly article, and what got you into writing, and what are you looking to do in the future?
So I came to Vendetta, I believe my first day was May of 2021.
Didn't we have a Survivor your like first or second day?
Like 4 days into it.
You had to fire someone, and you're like, I have no idea who these people are.
I knew like 3 people, and one of those was Trey. So I didn't. So I literally picked the first name that I saw on the list and just went with it. But I've been.
Do you remember who you voted for? Do you remember who you voted for?
Jeremy Rinaldi.
Yeah, I was about to say it's someone that's not here anymore.
That's funny.
Yeah. And then I was on another Survivor a couple weeks ago, or a couple weeks after that, with Jeremy, and it was just weird.
That had to have been awkward. Hey man, I just voted for you to get fired.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really gonna. I mean, he was on the list for a reason. So I mean, what is he gonna say to me? I mean,
there you go. That's right. I like your thinking. I like your method of thinking on that.
But yeah, I've been here since May. Been writing. I was writing a lot during the summer, but yeah, I just started the weekly articles. It came to me after the first week of the NFL. I was just like, I just want to write something about the NFL and just kind of encompass the whole league as a whole instead of just focusing on the team that I like, which is unfortunately the Patriots.
Ooh. Yeah. and this is going to be Max's last appearance on the Tanndemonium Sports Show. No, I'm messing with you.
Steelers fan and a Dolphins fan. Yeah, that's ugly.
It is what it is, man. I'm never mad at people for being fans of the teams that they are.
No, my dislike of the Patriots is more a dislike of Patriots fans as a whole, not singular.
Oh, we're terrible. Plural. We're terrible.
Yes. I lived in New England for 10 years.
Insufferable, I would say is the word.
It is an insufferable shit show.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, Your team didn't get relevant until like 1985, and then they got trounced, and then they were worthless for another 15 years until Tom Brady. And now all of a sudden, now you got swagger.
Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. You're right. Well, more Belichick needed Brady, not the other way around, as we're seeing now. But
I'm just salty because the Dolphins got their ass kicked every year. That's me.
I wanted a playoff game in Week 18 versus the Pats and the Dolphins so bad. I wanted that to be win and get in. That would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been cool.
But now it's more just for pride's sake.
Just play. Yeah. So you've been doing this article. Now, did you know that we were referencing your article every week?
Yeah. I mean, I watched the show a couple of times during the NFL season, and then when I did my year-end review with Trey, he told me that made me pretty happy, honestly. So, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really I'll tell you the truth, and for those that know me know that I don't have time to BS people. If I thought it was crap, I wouldn't do it. But I mean, it's very, very intricate, and for me, it gives enough of news and opinion that we can talk about, and that's why I continue to use it. You know, I kind of wish all the sports had that. I wish, NBA writers would do the same thing, and NHL writers would do, well, not to say anything against young Andrew. Young Andrew does a hell of a job.
He's a beast. He's an absolute beast.
He's an absolute monster. It's just, unfortunately, with NFL going on, it's hard in the time that we've got to focus on anything other than the NFL. And NFL is the number one sport in North America right now.
It's king.
It is.
It's going to continue to be king as long as these TV deals keep getting dealt out.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what really gets me. And Jackson and I were kind of talking about this a little while ago, like a couple of months ago. We were talking about like the pay discrepancies between like MLB and the other sports. MLB guys are making straight up guaranteed money.
Yeah. And
their contracts are higher than anybody else could even wish. But Major League Baseball doesn't put near as much money into their marketing. They don't have near as lucrative of television deals. So where are they getting the money to pay these ungodly amounts from?
It's a good question.
I mean, I still think maybe Major League Baseball is still mob controlled.
Cities just love their baseball.
Not bad, yeah.
I'm not going to go as far as to say that. You can say that. I won't say that.
Well, I'm not even saying there's a such thing as a mob. I'm just saying that if I wanted to be a conspiracy theorist,
I thought that was just something that Scorsese made up so that way
he did make that movies. I mean, I heard that's something that Max told me at the water cooler once.
Oh, honest. I don't know about that.
Actually, I think Courtney Don't Call the Plumber told us about it. That's what it was. Ain't nobody going after Courtney. I was just about to say that the people still controlling it. The peoples. That's right. The peoples.
The peoples that have always been in control still control.
That's right.
We'll just leave it at that.
Exactly. All right, let's jump right into the NFL. We're coming up on the last week of the season, but this past week has been just
crazy
huge. It's been crazy cupcakes. For those that know that reference, it's been crazy cupcakes. Now, let's start off with, for me, is the lead story, and that is Antonio Fitzgerald Brown deciding, you know what? I'm just going to get half naked on the sidelines and I'm out. Now, we've been getting conflicting reports. When it first happened, it's almost like we were led to believe that AB just got mad, threw a hissy fit, stripped down, and dipped. But apparently, Jackson, and I'll direct this to you first, apparently he didn't feel like he was healthy enough to go back into the game. Bruce Arians says go back in the game, and AB flips out and then acts out.
Yeah. So from what I heard is like, the series of events goes. Arians wants AB to go back in the game. AB feels hurt, feels like he's not 100%, feels like he doesn't need to be out there. He doesn't want to be out there because he doesn't want to hurt himself. And so apparently Bruce Arians just cuts him right then and there. Like,
that would
on
not
the sideline
one bit.
In the middle of the game, Bruce Arians just says, "You're not on this team anymore." And so Antonio Brown's like, all right,
Joe
bet.
Compton, what's
So
up, man?
then he just decides to strip
right.
down and
I'm out.
make a little show. And I mean, if that's the case, then it kind of sounds like Bruce Arians lied in the press conference after the fact, because he was making it kind of seem like, yeah, he's just not on the team anymore. He didn't talk about that side. It's almost like lying by not telling the full truth.
Well, you know what, TD? I want to a little bit disagree with that, Thunderdome. And I want your thoughts on this, because all Bruce Arians said was he's not a Buck anymore. He didn't go into any specifics. Now, one thing about Bruce Arians, who's a former coach in Pittsburgh, he doesn't really put up with a lot of crap. And he knows AB. So
he didn't want AB on the team in the first place.
Yeah, he didn't want him there in the first place. So
that's all.
What do you think? So what do you think, TD? Do you agree with Jackson that maybe this was a lie of omission, or do you think it was just Bruce Arians just is saying, you know what, he's just done?
I think he is. I don't know how you can bring him back after that. And I think Bruce Arians just got tired of his shit, to be honest. I think he was done with the antics. I mean, while he's a great player, he got to a point where
how much are you willing to put up with?
Well, his brand and his drama like outweighed his playing capabilities at that point. So
well, yeah, because you look at it like this. This AB is 33 years old. So he's obviously on the tail end of his career with the head injuries that he's taken because he's a smaller wideout. He's been blasted by Vontaze Burfict, among others.
I was about to say, we can all point towards the exact moment where we think the switch was flipped in his head. It's that Vontaze Burfict hit that's viral where he's like stiff as a board, spins around and collapses on the ground. A horrific looking hit, horrific looking injury.
But from what I understand, he was a jerk. But from what I understand, he was a jerk beforehand. And I mean, being here in Pittsburgh, during the time.
I just don't think he's like a good guy.
And then the headshots just make it worse.
It just like stretching back to Central Michigan, I think he robbed a delivery driver or something like that. And then it just kept going one thing after another. And at some point it just has to end, I think.
Yeah, no, I think the head injury is exacerbated everything.
I agree.
The scan on his brain is going to be interesting.
Now, what if his brain is fine? Then that's just a whole other ball of wax there. But I want to take a mini skip back to what you were saying about Bruce Arians with the lie of omission. Now, to be fair, I didn't watch the entire press conference, but when they tried to bring it up, he literally just said he's just not a Buck anymore. I want to talk about the guys that actually got us the win. So it's almost like, I mean, I can understand what you're saying, Jackson, that it's almost like a lie of omission. But I seriously think that as far as for Bruce Arians, they only let AB come back despite the false vaccination card because of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So when Bruce Arians goes, "Hey, we need you to come back in," and he's like,
I'm not poo-pooing on Arians or anything. I'm just saying that's what it could be taken as.
Joe Compton weighing in. I was shocked when he took off his pads and didn't have a Bitcoin in on the back of his t-shirt. Yeah. I mean that's right up there with T.O. doing the crunches in his driveway, and Chad Ochocinco with the Sharpie in his sock, and it's right up there.
I think that was one of the craziest things just in general I've ever seen in my life. Football aside, just like what is going on right now. Well,
you mean the stripping down?
Yeah,
or
while like you see in the background too, like they're calling
the game
plays.
Is still going on.
The game is going on, and he's just like doing jumping jacks without his shirt on in the end zone. I don't even know what to say at this point.
Yeah. I'm actually going to pull up, and this is an article that was done today by Scott here at Vendetta. I'm going to bring this up, and I want to go through this just a little bit while we still have time in this first segment. All the power rankings of all the crazy crap that he's done. And I'm going to share my screen here. And of course, since I'm not, Courtney, since I'm not really signed in. You're probably gonna have to oh, okay, good. So you guys can see it. There we go. So the power rankings of the crazy crap that AB has done. All right, and this is kind of interesting here. Hold on, let me free up some memory because I want to make sure that we're good to go on this. I want to make sure. So number 7, benched by the Steelers. So we're going to start small. This is back in 2018 when AB was, this is when he sort of quit on the Steelers. He missed practice with a knee injury. Didn't play in the season finale because it said knee injury. But it wasn't even just that. It was also he got pissed off, threw a ball at Ben, stormed out of practice, ignored phone calls from Mike Tomlin and Art Rooney II, the owner of the team, completely ghosted the team, showed up for no practice, and then shows up on Sunday thinking he's going to dress and play. And then got pissed. Yeah. And then got mad because Juju Smith-Schuster won the team MVP. Now,
wasn't he like the best wide receiver in the league in 2018? And he's crying about his teammate getting like the team MVP.
Yeah, it was like for a solid 4 or 5 years in a row. He was
the most dominant receiver in the NFL.
He was the best. He was on Hall of Fame trajectory.
Yeah, but the thing is, Juju came in with that Hines Ward mentality, blocking, doing all the stuff that Hines Ward used to do. Yeah. And of course, that's going to be a thing.
It's a freaking team MVP. It's like,
right.
What is incentivized for that? Like, does that get you in the Hall of Fame?
I guess in his mind.
Yeah, that was the end of the world to him, apparently.
Right.
Like, is there like a $250,000 bonus or something that comes with that? What are we talking about here? Why is that such a big deal?
Oh, it's crazy. Joe Compton said that AB was his the number 2 pick in his fantasy draft that year. That's
dude, he was always going 1.
He was always in the first. He was always in the top 5 round. I'm not even a fantasy sports guy, and I knew that. So number 6, during the 2017 AFC Championship game, he violated the team's personal privacy by going live on Facebook when Tomlin was giving a post-game speech. And he even made it a point to tell people on the team, stay cool with social media. Nope, not AB. Steelers went on to lose the AFC Championship that year, 36-17. I remember that, and I was pissed about that because, like, there's just certain things you don't do. You do not put your locker room out there like that, and that's exactly what AB did.
Especially with a coach like Tomlin too. Like, I don't know. He's just so blunt and to the point, and I think a ton of guys respect him in that locker room. And you just went and just disrespected him, I guess.
And part of the mystery of Tomlin is part of the mystery of these great coaches is we don't know what's going on or being said in the locker room, and right. That is also kind of what is said in the locker room stays in the locker room because sometimes you've got emotions are really running high. So Tomlin or someone else may say something about a player or coach on the opposing team that they don't really feel like, they could be chill with the person in real life, and then they're like F them, F this, F that, and stuff like that in the locker room and stuff. So that could just something could be said that could bite someone back in the butt, and it's it was just something said in the heat of the moment type
right.
of deal.
Right.
I'm not saying something nefarious or egregious.
Right. No, but I mean, you're going to say we're going to kill these MFs and blah, blah, blah. And
yeah,
that's part of football.
Like Big Ben dropping the N-word or something in there. I'm not that's what I'm talking about. That's
I think at that point in time with Cam Hayward in the locker room, I don't think Big Ben was going to have the balls.
He would not have made it out. No, but I'm not.
But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I'm talking about just other stuff. Yeah.
No, I totally get what you're saying. Number 5, AB was traded to the Oakland Raiders, and he froze his feet due to cryotherapy.
Favorite of mine.
Yeah, it's great. Dude, seriously. Why would you do that? I don't know. That's just total carelessness.
Did he even make it to training camp with the
No.
Raiders?
I think that they were at OTAs. I believe it was OTAs. And he did that. But we were in training camp when he decided He wanted his own helmet. Screw the outdated helmet. I want my helmet. And he recorded a voicemail from John Gruden. Once again, another thing, number one, it's illegal in the state of California, I believe it's illegal to record someone without their knowledge, but then you record them and then you put that phone call on social media. That's not okay. Like, why are you doing that? Moving on.
It's not the first time recently that John Gruden's been put on blast.
That's true. Well, John Gruden's a piece of crap anyway. Legal issues with New England. Brown ended up with the Patriots after getting cut by the Raiders. Lasted all of one game. Brown was accused of a sexual assault.
A game against Miami, of all things, too.
Yeah, against Miami. And then, of course, sending threatening text messages to his accuser. Brown was then cut by the Patriots. This is a guy that just can never get out of his own way.
Before all that stuff came out and the Patriots signed him, I think that was one of the happiest days of my entire life. And then that fun lasted for about 8 days, and then he was out.
Meanwhile, us here in Pittsburgh were like, first we were like mad that he went to the Patriots, and then it's just like, that's what you get. Number 2, the fake vaccination card. Paid for and used a fake vaccination card this year. Lied to everyone. And apparently the chef that he still has not paid snitched him out because he wasn't getting paid.
Huh.
Apparently it's like 10 grand too. It's not like he
didn't pay chump change.
Well, I was saying like 10 grand.
I really
would have snitched. Brown.
I would have snitched too.
10 grand.
I would have too.
Brown is probably like $50 to the normal person. So he couldn't have just paid.
It's $5 to the
$5, yeah, whatever
person.
You couldn't have just paid the chef, and then this would have never come out. This is just one of the
and this is a history. This is a history with Antonio Brown because he's done this to other people where he was supposed to pay them and didn't.
And like, how much money did he lose out from the games that he was suspended? Like, what?
Right.
Like, he probably lost more money from the suspensions than what he like.
If he would have just
this is
paid
wrong
the
either
chef.
way, but he lost more money probably from suspensions and not collecting game checks than he did if he just would have paid the chef 10 grand to get him to shut up.
Didn't they fine him like a ton too? Like he just
he
wasn't
got
a good
fined
monetary
too.
transaction for Antonio Brown. It's
just like meh, okay.
Well.
Yeah, it's like meh, whatever. And then finally, this past Sunday, he stripped and walked off the field against the Jets. A game that the Buccaneers were losing at one point. I mean, the Bucs were getting
following this.
I mean, the Bucs were having the brakes beat off them at one point. I'm live tweeting the Chiefs game, the Chiefs Bengals game, and I'm like double checking to making sure I'm seeing the score right. The Bucs are getting the brakes beat off of them by the Jets.
They were up like 14 at one. I don't know how they I didn't watch the rest of that game, but I don't know how the Jets blew that one.
They're the Jets, and Tom Brady got a last-second touchdown to go.
Yeah,
it's quite amazing.
I mean, when you're the Jets, man, that's just what happens.
Jets going Jets.
That's right.
That's true.
All right, so let's take a
Miami
quick break.
fans. At least we're not the New York Jets.
That's right. All right, let's take our first break, and then we're going to go over the biggest storylines and takeaways of Week 17 with the Bengals really, really, really taking a step up, and Joe Burrow, I think, starting to submit the early days of his legacy. The Raiders found a way to win, and, well, happy trails to Big Ben in his final game at Three River Stadium. But we're going to talk more about that when we come back here on the Tanndemonium Sports Show. Proud member of the Vendetta Sports Media Podcasting Network, broadcasting live every Tuesday evening, 6:30 p.m. on Twitch TV, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Twitch TV, twitch.tv/Vendetta Sports Media. We'll be right back.
The following broadcast is brought to you in association by XP Coffee Company. XP Coffee Company is the fresh brewed coffee made for gamers by gamers. Get amazing flavors like Choco Loco in 8, 12, or 16-ounce bags. Or level up and get Illusion, Isolation, Nightmare, or the Majestic Throne blends in light, medium, or dark roast in whole bean, coarse French press, drip, or fine espresso in 12-ounce, 16-ounce, or 2-pound bags. Wow! Shipping worldwide. If you're in the U.S., go to usa.xpcoffee.co. If you're in Europe or in the UK, go to www.xpcoffee.co. XP Coffee Company. For gamers, by gamers.
All right, we're back here on the Tanndemonium Sports Show, broadcasting live on Twitch TV, twitch.tv/Vendetta Sports Media. Every Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Part of the Vendetta Sports Media Podcasting Network. Go to vendettasportsmedia.com. And while you're at it, why don't you go to a Monkey Knife Fight, or one of our partners, Monkey Knife Fight. Go to monkeyknifefight.com or download the mobile app. With your very first deposit, use our promo code Vendetta to get a 100% instant match up to $100. If you want to get paid to do your fantasy sports, then Monkey Knife Fight is where you want to go. We're joined, I'm your host, Bryan Tan. With me, as always, is Jackson Wall. We're joined by Thunderdome himself, Mad Max Murphy, the young fellow NFL writer for here on Vendetta, whose weekly series, the NFL Week Biggest Storylines and Takeaways, we've been referencing all football season long. Max, how do you decide which storylines you really want to discuss in these articles? Because with so many games going on, you've got to pick and choose.
Yeah. So usually the first one, the biggest ones I would say are just like huge wins. Like the Bengals had this weekend against the Chiefs and the Raiders had against this weekend against the Colts. First, get the big wins out of the way and then kind of just trickle down from there, get to the lesser important stuff.
Right. Now, of course, you talked about the Bengals, and I started to allude to it. Do you guys agree with me that this is a legacy starting victory for young Joe Burrow? I mean, for the first time in a long time, the Bengals are AFC North champs. It's been the Steelers with the Ravens at a close second, ruling the AFC North for the last 15 years. 15 plus years. And now it's the Bengals' turn. And Joe Burrow with an amazing game. And Jamar Chase, my God. Now,
unbelievable.
I was live tweeting this game, and I actually ended up like stepping away from the game to take care of some things around the house. But I watched some of these Jamar Chase catches and touchdowns. This was an amazing game. Against the Chiefs, no doubt. Against the reigning defending AFC champions, Kansas City Chiefs. Wow.
Yeah. I thought the most impressive thing was Bengals found themselves down 14-0 early in the first quarter, crawled all the way back to tie it up, and the Chiefs went up 28-14. They found themselves in another hole, and they just kept clawing all the way back that whole game. I mean, that connection between Burrow and Jamar Chase. I mean, obviously Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams is up there, but they're coming.
Yeah, these guys are young, they're hungry, ready to go, and they know each other so well. In Jackson, the Bengals are doing this despite having an offensive line that has allowed more sacks and more hits. I mean, Joe Burrow, we talked about it last year. Joe Burrow's knocked out by Chase Young because this offensive line is garbage. And then the offensive line still, Burrow's getting knocked around, but they're still getting the job done.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to deal with the fact he's got two really good targets to throw to. He's got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I think
Tyler Boyd's no slouch either.
Tyler Boyd, exactly, too. So he's got weapons, and maybe it's not a great offensive line, but maybe they're doing just enough. Maybe they're just getting in the way, giving him half a second, one more second to let the play to let the routes develop and for him to truly see what the field's going on. And maybe just Joe Burrow is that guy. Sometimes, I'm still going to defend Tua and everything. But sometimes there are just players that can thrive and play great in not so great situations. And maybe Joe Burrow is that guy. There was people, you didn't really know what you were getting from him. He had the one great season with LSU, wins a national title, sets college records for most touchdowns in a single season, comes to the NFL, does pretty good, gets hurt, comes back. There's a lot of question marks, but Bengals look to be the team that are going to set the league on fire. And if I remember correctly, they have a lot of cap space coming up too.
Yeah,
in the future.
They can rebuild this offensive line.
They got a lot of room
to
grow. It sucks for AFC North opponents because you got a team that's pretty much on the upward end of a rebuild and is getting to a point where they're going to be able to compete.
And I'm actually happy to see it because I don't dislike the Bengals like I do the Ravens or the Browns. I don't. And I'm a fan of the fact, like, I like it when the AFC North teams are competitive. I like it when divisions are competitive because usually the winner of that division is usually the one that's going to be the champion of the conference. So I like it when the AFC North is competitive. I truly do. That's why I like the NFC West. I think the NFC West is probably the best division in all of football because a lot of the times the worst team in that division is better than most other teams. But
yeah.
Now one thing, can we just skip to the part where we shit on the Browns and they're underachieving for another year? That's from Joe Compton. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a team that on paper, people were already giving them the Super Bowl champion. They were already giving them the Super Bowl on paper.
I think
and then season's got a season.
Yeah, I think before the season, I said they were going to win like 12 games. And then maybe have a chance to go to the AFC Championship, and that could not have been more wrong.
Yeah. Now, is this because Baker Mayfield is a fraud, or is this coaching staff just garbage?
I think it's a combination of Baker is not a number one overall pick. He was never a number one overall pick. His skill set is not a number one overall pick. And he just can't carry a team like some of these other, like Joe Burrow, even in his own division. Like Joe Burrow is playing on a roster that is 10 times worse than the Browns and has gotten them to 10 wins and clinched the AFC North. I think it's a lot to do with Baker. I just don't think he's that good. But
I'm sorry, go ahehead. Finish your point.
No, I was just gonna say, like, they were decimated by COVID. But I think Stefanski's a pretty good coach. I don't know. I just think a lot of it falls on Baker's shoulders.
Was this the last year that they have to pay for Baker, or do they have one more year? Do they have that 5th year?
I think this is the last year. I think
they can pick up his 5th year option for next year. I think, but
okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, see here. Well, here's my thing about Stefanski, and I want to ask you, Jackson. Well, before I go to Stefanski, I want to ask you, Jackson. If the Browns have Tua, are they in the playoffs today? Have they clinched that division? Because you figure the Browns have a pretty steady offensive line. They've got Nick Chubb, who's all century. You got Jarvis Landry, David Njoku, and then you've got that defense. Is Cleveland a playoff caliber team if Tua Tagovailoa's that quarterback?
I don't know. And again, like I'm a avid Tua defender. I will defend him because I think he needs just one more year. I think next year is going to be extremely telling, regardless what happens this offseason. In fact, I'm working on an offseason piece for the Miami Dolphins because they got $75 million in cap room. So, they got some cheese to throw around. They got some FU cheese too. There's a lot of teams that are low on cap and be like, oh, you want that guy for $10 million a year? We'll offer him $15 million a year just for kicks and giggles.
Just so you don't get them.
Just so you don't get them. Exactly. So Miami can do that. They can put their nuts on the table this offseason if they wanted to. But as for Tua, I mean, his development has been bad. I think Miami has really screwed up his development. I think Miami has handled this about as badly or
As the
worse
Browns
than I've
would.
ever seen any quarterback situation being handled, where you throw him in randomly for no real reason whatsoever last season, and then you keep pulling them, and then this season you give him no real confidence because there's all this talk about trading for Deshaun Watson, and it comes out that Deshaun Watson is like settled with like 16 of 20 accusers, and if he can get those final 4 settlements done, then he could be cleared to, or he may just be able to come back into the NFL, and Miami was willing to make that trade if he could get like that settled before the trade deadline to get him in there. I mean, I still think Tua is going to be a great quarterback, but it's hard for me to say given his situation in Miami and his development and the fact that Tua literally has nothing. And so, but outside of Jalen Waddle, he really has nothing. I'd say Mike Gesicki too, but the play calling is just terrible in Miami. So they don't really know how to use Gesicki, and they don't know how to use Jalen Waddle except for like little short routes, which that's about all that has time to develop because Tua has literally a second and a half to make a decision. He has the ball in his hands and he has to make a decision. So his only decision is to go with his first read. So
right. All right. So what do you think, Thunderdome? Do you think if Tua's under center in Cleveland, are they a playoff caliber team, or is this just the Browns?
I don't know. I was not the biggest Tua fan last year. I don't know. Just when we came in, I didn't think he was like terribly special or did everything over the top. But I've gained a lot of respect for him this year. He is a tough SOB behind that offensive line. That's the number one thing I've taken away with him. He just gets hit every other play and gets right back up. But I don't think he gets the Browns to the playoffs. I don't.
All right, so now you mentioned Kevin Stefanski's a good coach. So why is it then you don't have all-universe Nick Chubb pounding against one of the worst run defenses in the league last night? Why are you passing with a guy whose arm is about to fall off instead of making use of your running back?
Where I will defend Baker, I think they should have like sat him out like a month ago and just let him heal completely and just ride with Case Keenum. Like Case Keenum and Baker Mayfield's skill set are very similar, and I honestly don't think there's a huge gap between both of them. So I think it would have been the most conducive to sit him, get him fully healthy, and then try to make a push at the end. But it seemed like he was just playing injured for the back half of the season. But yeah, Stefanski's play calling is questionable at times, but I don't know. He's an Ivy League guy. I think he can figure it out.
I don't understand why you don't run into a bad defense. But hey, I'm not complaining. I'm just wondering. So the Raiders found a way to pull off an upset this weekend, taking out the Colts. Now, you say in your article that Derek Carr deserves a ton of the credit, as well as Hunter Renfrow and Zay Jones stepping up after Henry Ruggs is pretty much done for forever. Does Derek Carr return to the Raiders next year?
I don't know.
Or is Derek Carr going to be because it always seems like Derek Carr is always somewhat on the chopping block.
I don't know how you can, if I'm Mark Davis and if I'm Mike Mayock in that front office, I don't know how you can watch this season and just let this guy walk away from your team. Not only is he good on the field, I think he's handled every situation, every piece of adversity with that franchise. I think he just takes it and just keeps pushing forward. I think there's he has like an intangible value when it comes to just dealing with the shit that is the Raiders organization. So I don't see how you can let him just walk. I think they need to pay him.
All right, so flip side, if you're Derek Carr, do you go back to the Raiders?
If I was Derek Carr, I'd get the hell out of there, but I don't think he will.
All right, Jackson, same questions to you. If you're the Raiders, do you stick with Carr? And if you're Carr, do you walk away and go elsewhere?
Let me answer your question with a question. I'm going to answer both of these. the exact same way. If you're the Raiders, who's available that you could get at a reasonable price to replace him? And if you're Derek Carr, where can you go right now that's in desperate need of a quarterback that's ready to compete for a championship?
Pittsburgh, Seattle.
Is he a free agent this offseason, or is he?
I believe he's an unrestricted free agent. So you figure you've got Russell Wilson looking to leave Seattle. So Seattle's probably going to be in need of a quarterback.
Yeah, but they're not like, I don't think they're ready to compete for a title. Seattle's defense is not great. And they have no draft picks because they gave them all for Jamal Adams.
Yeah. I think Daniel Jones is the quarterback of the Seahawks next year, and I think Russell Wilson goes to the Giants.
That has been talk. The Giants were on his list. I think that's more for his wife than his
Jimmy G going to Vegas. I could actually see that. I could actually see Jimmy G going to Vegas. Jimmy G's not going to want to go back to the East Coast. And, why not finish out in the warm weather? And,
finish up what you're going to say. I think he's going to end up on the Washington football team.
You think Jimmy G is? Interesting.
I don't know what pick they have in the draft, but even if they do draft like a Malik Willis or a Matt Corral or even a Kenny Pickett, why not just bring in Jimmy just for like a year? Just
let him be like the bridge.
Yeah.
And
just he's let him the new Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
He's just good enough.
And then give Jimmy a year, and then after that, kick him to the curb and go with the young guy.
Now here's the other thing that I was saying to answer your question, Jackson. Pittsburgh is going to need a quarterback because Mason Rudolph. I don't see Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins
like destiny that they're going to get Kenny Pickett, though. I feel like
I hope not, unless they strengthen that offensive line
for it to happen. I don't know why.
I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening because this quarterback class isn't super great, but teams are going to be grabbing. The Giants are. I mean, if the Giants can't get Russell Wilson, or maybe make a trade for Deshaun Watson, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know if the Steelers get Kenny Pickett. Plus the Steelers. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I see the Steelers maybe looking for getting an offensive lineman because they realize just how little they've done to shore up that offensive line. And being that Najee Harris is now going to be your offensive leader, you have to open up holes for this guy, especially last night, breaking the Steelers rookie rushing record held by Franco Harris for God knows how long. Yeah. You need an offensive line to open up a hole for this guy. And going for a quarterback, even if it is Kenny Pickett, I don't see it happening. Unless they spend top dollar in free agency on the offensive line. Like maybe David DeCastro's healthy, they bring him back, and they get, I don't know who the top offensive linemen are going to be on the market, but you go with them. Greetings from Germany. Do you think the Cowboys have any chance to win the Super Bowl? That's a good question. What? I like questions.
They have the team built for it. It's just are they going to show up and play?
And
Cowboys are not a team on paper.
Smart enough.
I agree, but I don't trust Mike McCarthy at all.
I don't trust Mike McCarthy at all. If they have any other coach. And when I say any other coach, obviously within reason, like if Mike Vrabel is the coach of the Dallas Cowboys,
they'd be unbelievable.
They've already, the Super Bowl is theirs.
Yeah,
they clinched their playoff spot 7 weeks ago. Okay, but it's a matter of who's going to show up.
I just don't know how McCarthy can consistently screw up these end game situations when he has been in them every single week. I just don't get, like you saw in that Cardinals game, he had to blow a timeout because Kingsbury sent out like Kyler Murray and the kicker or whatever it was.
Kyler Murray.
And then they couldn't challenge the fumble at the end and then ultimately lose the game. Like
Yeah.
I don't get how I don't get how it keeps happening.
It happens because when he was in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers just handled it. When it was the offense, it was all Aaron Rodgers. When it got under 2 minutes, Aaron Rodgers, if there's a little button in his helmet, just reaches in there, hits the off button, says, I am not listening. Or, he's got like a second helmet that doesn't have the headset in there that he puts on. Once the 2 minute warning hits, and it's like, I am not listening to Mike. I'm not listening to anybody.
Yeah, you're right. So Joe Compton had a question from Go Indy Now. If you had to pick the Super Bowl right now, who you got? First of all, coming out of the NFC, I have the Packers. Coming out of the AFC, I got the Chiefs. It's a replay of Super Bowl I, and I'm giving it to the Chiefs.
Yeah, that seems like the obvious choice right now. Like before the season started, I had Rams and Bills. It's not looking too good right now. But if you allowed me to repick, because going into the final week, playoffs are starting. Yeah, I think it'd be the two of them.
I think the NFC. I think the Packers are coming out of the NFC.
Hey, Max is a New England fan too.
Yeah. Thunderdome is a huge New England fan.
Yeah, huge.
All right, and see, you're a Cowboys fan, Philip. See me, I'm a Steelers guy, so I dislike the Patriots by default. But I love Dak Prescott. I think that if Dak Prescott has had the bad luck of having idiot coaches. Joe Compton had the Cowboys and Bills in the preseason. That wouldn't be a bad pick. But I think that right now Aaron Rodgers is playing at another level. He's getting his value up because he realizes he's going to be 37 next year. He's trying to get that one last contract.
Yeah,
but I don't think he's going to
believe what he says. I think he might be coming back. He kind of did that. So? You never know type of stuff. I think if they go off and they rip a Super Bowl run and they win, he's 100% going to come back. I think he stays.
Yeah, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, one, why would I want to leave Green Bay? And two, if I'm the Packers, like Jordan Love.
Why do you let him go?
Jordan Love is clearly not ready to be like the next guy. So you need to get on your knees and beg Aaron Rodgers to stay. Like I don't see.
And if Aaron Rodgers leaves, Adams isn't going to stay.
Yeah, because Adams is a free agent.
Adams is going to the Raiders. Play with Derek Carr if that happens.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Mike Vrabel does is win, except against what the. Hold on. My dog literally just took a used chicken bone off my plate. So you have on here all Mike Vrabel does is win, not against the Steelers.
I mean, everyone has their vice, I guess.
You know what? Let's talk about that. You know what? We'll come back to that in a second. We're going to take another break. This is the Tanndemonium Sports Show, broadcasted live on Twitch TV every Tuesday evening, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Twitch.tv/Vendetta Sports Media, proud member of the Vendetta Sports Media Podcast and Network. We'll be right back for our final segment of the evening.
The following is brought to you in partnership by Symbol. Symbol is a new sports marketplace where you can trade shares of professional teams like stocks. You love sports. You interested in fantasy sports without the weekly annoyance of fantasy league upkeep? Then Symbol's the app for you. With Symbol, fantasy sports is going to a whole other level. How it works is simple. You buy Symbol shares for your favorite sim teams on the app. When your sim team wins, you get automatic cash deposits, and you don't lose any money when they lose. That's it. So if you follow trends across football, basketball, and baseball, and you think your team is a sleeper, simply invest in your favorite sim teams on Symbol and watch your virtual portfolio prove you right or wrong. And if you want to get in on the action right away, Vendetta Sports Media's got you covered. Go to symbol.app/Vendetta and use our exclusive promo code Vendetta, and you'll get a $10 bonus when making your first deposit. Symbol, taking fantasy sports to a whole other level.
We're back on the Tanndemonium Sports Show. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. A bit of an update on the Antonio Brown situation. So Antonio Brown update below. Antonio's friends were worried about the pain he was experiencing, so they encouraged him to see a top surgeon outside Bucs organization. That visit and an MRI confirm his serious pain, and the story is developing.
Oh, wow. So it looks like AB isn't the asshole. Looks like Bruce Arians might be the
Potentially,
asshole.
we'll see how the story continues, but
well, and another big news story, my dog is an asshole because she just ate a chicken bone. So it's like crap.
And in other news, happy birthday to the great Don Shula. Rest in peace, man.
Well, it's not a birthday if he's dead, Jackson.
Well, he was born on this day.
That's true.
We celebrate President's Day. That's a president's birthday. George Washington's, which, I mean, you kind of lump the two. You lump him and Lincoln together.
To be fair, I don't really celebrate those days.
I'm saying it's a holiday, though. It's recognized.
Well, then my birthday should be a holiday then.
Oh, it's a personal holiday.
I know. I'm an important guy. I'm a big deal,
you
Jackson.
Yeah,
I'm a very big deal.
Huge.
All right, so now Joe
DDP
Compton
Yoga
says
Grand Champion.
That's right. 2021 Positively Unstoppable Challenge. If you want to change your life, you want to own it, go to positivelyunstoppable.com, enter the DDP Yoga Positively Unstoppable Challenge for 2022. DDP Yoga does not sponsor this show in any way, shape, or form. Now Joe Compton says that we shouldn't sleep on the Bucs. And I mean, all right. And he's saying that the best story that we could get in sports would be a Pats Bucs Super Bowl with a John Kreese versus Johnny Lawrence feel to it. Shout out to Joe for getting the Cobra Kai reference in there. I love it. Honestly, though, if the Pats and the Bucs played each other in the Super Bowl, I would watch that, and I wouldn't know how I'd want to root because
I
wouldn't want either.
I don't want that. I don't want that one bit.
I would just be like, "Let's have a game." Like that would literally be me. I wouldn't be rooting
for a good game. Yeah,
yeah.
Let's
have a fair election.
Both teams have fun.
Listen, both teams tried hard. We should get a participation Super Bowl ring.
If I'm being honest with my Patriots, though, I don't think they're going to win a playoff game.
I don't think so either. I think that Mac Jones is actually starting to regress a little bit, to be honest. And I think a lot of it is because people are starting to figure out the tape on them. You know, once you have a couple of weeks under your belt with someone, you can start picking up on tendencies and game plan against them. Now,
his skill set is just his skill set is very limited. He's not. Yeah. Doesn't have a super. He's. I think him and Tua have more similarities than people want to admit, but I think they're just both accurate quarterbacks who have functional athleticism, I would say.
But Tua is the only one that people are going to talk about. So it's
of course.
The way
Did we lose Bryan? I think we lost Bryan. So, well, we can go ahead and talk Mike Vrabel. All Mike Vrabel does is win. So why don't you talk a bit about what Vrabel has done, like the job he's done this season?
Yeah, because I was going to say,
despite Derrick Henry going down, despite a bunch of other slew of other injuries,
despite having Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback,
despite the Julio Jones thing not working.
I think I read something the other day that the Titans have played like 93 different players this season or something like that. Like maybe it was like 88 or something. It was just an insane number. And to lose, I mean, Julio Jones is a shell of himself now, but Derrick Henry and Antonio Brown, AJ Brown are elite players. And Derrick Henry obviously is the best player at his position. And to lose those guys for what was that? Seemed like, I mean, Derrick Henry's still out, but AJ Brown just came back after like 8 weeks. To lose those guys and the streak they rattled off in the beginning of the season when they beat like the Rams, Bills. I can't even think that would, but it was like 5 walk playoff teams, and with the ever-changing personnel that the Titans have had this season, I don't know. I tip my cap to Vrabel.
All right, fair enough. All right, so I kind of want to go through the rest of this because we're almost out of time. There's going to be a big Vendetta Sports Media press release, live press release here on the Twitch channel, coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Very, very big announcement from CEO, President, Allfather himself, Trey Daubert. Very, very important. So we're going to go through this a little bit. The Cardinals get the big win in Dallas. Cardinals have been reeling, guys, but it looks like they might be getting back on track. And do you guys think, real quick, Jackson, I'll start with you real quick. Do you think the Cardinals might be ready to make a real run in the playoffs, or do you think this is just sort of a too little too late fizzle out?
I mean, it's not December anymore, so Cliff Kingsbury's teams can actually win again.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Oh, to go with one of Max's previous points about the Cardinals.
I'm very anti Kingsbury. I don't think
he's
fraud.
So do you think that the Cardinals Thunderdome are going to fall off? Or do you think this was just a one-off and they're going to fall apart?
I want to see who they get in the first round, because I think if the playoffs ended today, they'd be going back to Dallas, and I like them in that game. But against the Rams, against the Bucks, and obviously the Packers, I don't think they stand a chance. Even if they got matched up with the Niners, I don't think they can play with physical teams. And I mean, the Niners want to run it down your throat. The Rams are a pretty physical team, but the Cowboys, I mean, they're a little finesse if we're being all right. But I don't see the Cardinals. I think they win maybe a game, but they're not making a run to the Super Bowl. I can't. With Kingsbury there, no way.
And then, of course, the Eagles actually clinched the playoff berth. I'm pretty shocked by this. Thunderdome, you don't think that the Eagles are going to go? You think they're going to be a one and done? I'm inclined to agree with you. I think this team I think that they benefited from playing in a very, very weak division. I don't know, Jackson, what do you think? Do you think the Eagles are going to be a one and done as well? And I'll ask you this one on top of it. Do you think that maybe the Eagles will be able to build on this season, or do you think they're just going to continue to be this middle of the pack mediocre team?
I think they're one and done, which is compared to where they were supposed to finish. I think they have overachieved drastically this season. So I honestly think Eagles fans, you got to walk away with this season with a dub, especially with the fact that Miami's going to miss the playoffs. So you could potentially have a pretty good pick depending on how this coming Sunday goes. If Miami loses and a couple other teams win, they could fall down a few spots. If Miami wins and a few teams loses, Miami could move back towards the 16, 17 range for their pick. So you still get a nice pick. You have your own pick and everything. So you got 2 first-round picks coming in. I think they could potentially build on it. I don't trust Howie Roseman. I feel like I don't know. I honestly don't know, because it's Howie Roseman, and the man literally has screwed up in every way after winning the Super Bowl. He magooed his way into a Super Bowl, and
he said magooed.
And he got laughed at by the Vikings front office. Okay. When they did not take Justin Jefferson, everyone in the Vikings front office, I've seen the video, they were laughing. They could not believe that Howie Roseman did not take Justin Jefferson. And then we know the story. Justin Jefferson goes to the Vikings, initially breaks the rookie receiving record, and then his teammate Jamar Chase shout out. Well, I'm a Razorback fan, but I got to give LSU credit where credit's due. Shout out LSU. They're the wide receiver U. They always seem to turn out some of the best receivers. But I mean, you'd like to think they could build on it. I still don't know what to think of Jalen Hurts. I don't know. I think maybe if they had Derek Carr, maybe he's worth maybe 2 or 3 more wins.
I like that. I don't hate that idea. I kind of like that.
So what do you so Thunderdome, do you think the Eagles build on this year of overachieving, or do you think they stay middle of the pack? Real quick.
I think the number one thing you take away from the season is their coach, Nick Sirianni. I think he's their coach going forward. And I think you can kind of finagle your way with your quarterback with Jalen Hurts and Minshew, but I think Sirianni proved that he is an NFL coach. So I think that's a huge thing to build on going forward.
I say don't sleep on Jalen Hurts, man. I think this guy could be. I think this guy has. I like his skill set. Some of the I haven't seen a lot of them. Don't get me wrong, but what I have seen of him, I mean, the guy has moves. He has talent. I think that if they get a quarterback guru into like maybe if he goes and say works out in the offseason, say with Brady or I don't know, name someone. I mean, come on now, NFL players. I don't think they work out with each other like the NBA guys do, but if they did, I would suggest maybe why don't you go work out with Brady? Why don't you go hang out with Aaron Rodgers for a little bit, pick his brain.
I'd like to see him go work out with like Russell Wilson or like.
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Someone that matches his skill set. Like
I wouldn't even mind seeing working out with Byron Leftwich.
That's another.
Learn a couple things from Byron Leftwich.
Who
maybe
should be the coach of Jacksonville. By the way, I will die on that hill.
You know what? Now, the one thing that I will disagree with, though, is I think that if you're the Eagles and Eric Bieniemy decides he's going to go for a head coaching position again, you get him in there. I honestly, I'm screaming at hell or high water. If Eric Bieniemy is looking to be a head coach again, I don't care what team he chooses to go to visit, you hire him. You throw money. You start sending hookers, male and female, because if he's married, you send his wife male hookers. You send him female hookers. I don't care what you have to do. You get him as your head coach.
Do you just kick Sirianni to the curb, or you try to like keep him on the staff, or you just say
keep him? I'd say keep if he's willing, keep him on staff.
What's worse, being fired or being demoted from the head coach?
Listen, if it's
I think I'd rather be demoted. Being fired sucks.
Here's the thing: if they demote him, if I would actually say I'll take the demotion, but you better give me a raise to keep me here.
Because it's like Memphis, they didn't fire Chris Wallace, who was their GM for over 10 years. He was their GM for over 10 years, and they demoted him to a lesser part in the organization. Like, yes, he still has a job, but
look, man, sometimes you just gotta have job security. For real.
I don't know. It's like at least
go ahead.
Like at least if you get fired, you go somewhere new, you start fresh, you're just like, oh, things just didn't work out with the previous team, you get on a new staff. No, you are actively helping the man.
You're kind of getting
your job. Okay.
You are about kind of getting the cuckold. Yeah. You are getting cucked. Yeah, you're right. I'd
say for Sirianni, though, if he got kicked to the curb, I'd say a couple teams would come after him after this season. So
100%.
But
All right, so real quick before we end out, I want to do a quick shift into the NBA. Do you guys believe that DeMar DeRozan deserves MVP consideration? Because this is a guy who is finally helping the Bulls get over that hump. His shooting is better. Now Zach LaVine doesn't have to do everything by himself, and DeMar DeRozan is flourishing. Do you guys believe, and I'll start with you, Jackson, because you're the NBA guy. Do you think he deserves MVP consideration, or is this just what it's supposed to be, or is it too little too late?
I think just the fact that we're having this conversation is a testament to how great of a season DeMar is having. He's not going to sniff anywhere near any votes. He shouldn't be a finalist or anything because Zach LaVine, if that's the case, then Zach LaVine should also have it because the two of them have extremely identical stats all across the board. Same minutes. Like I'm talking like less than a point difference in total points, rebounds, assists. They are neck and neck. So if DeMar was in the race, then you'd also have to have LaVine in the race. And no one is considering LaVine in the race. We are talking about DeMar because of the down years he had in San Antonio, which he still played okay in San Antonio. He was just on a bad San Antonio team, so no one was paying attention to him. Now he's with the one-seeded Bulls, which is insane to think. I thought they were a playoff team this year, but I just didn't think they were going to be this good. But again, he's not going to win it, but just the fact that we are having this conversation, like we have to take time out of our day and ask the question, should DeMar be considered for MVP? That's a W for him and for Bulls fans.
What do you think, Thunderdome?
I agree with Jackson. I think, like you said, just the fact that we're having this conversation is a testament to how good the season he's having, but just don't think he's like a sexy enough name for the MVP.
No. If he was dropping like 32, 33 a night and they were the 1 seed, then I'd be like, yeah, okay. He's averaging like 26, 25 and a half, somewhere around there.
26,
which is a
20,
lot.
just under 27 points a game.
Yeah, and I fully think that he should represent the Eastern Conference. Well, I mean, he should be voted in the Eastern Conference as a starter. You don't represent the East, technically speaking, anymore, because they do the team captains and they pick the teams. But he should be one of the guards out of the Eastern Conference to be a starter. I think he's earned that.
Well, he's also apparently
in the All-Star game. If I didn't clarify that in the All-Star game, I meant to say.
Well, apparently he's been playing at power forward, which is
he's listed as a guard, so that's what he would be. That's what he'll get voted on for everything.
I will say his 2 buzzer beaters were very cool.
That's insane. Not just that he did it twice, and he did it to end the year, and he started the new year. They were back to backs. It was from it was insane.
Just off like 1 foot, oh my god, sweet. Weren't people saying that was like Weren't people saying that was like the worst offseason move too, or like one?
Yeah, a lot of people were bad on that. A lot of people were down on him being picked up by the Bulls. A lot of people.
I think most people were though, because like there was no indication that Demar was going to ball the way he is. Yeah. So
it just looks like he just had to get out of San Antonio. And
he looks like Raptors Demar right now.
Yeah. He really does. He really does.
And Billy Donovan, he's acting like he's still coaching KD, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden out there. The way that this team is playing.
All right, if you want to see more of Thunderdome, Max Murphy's articles, go to vendettasportsmedia.com where you can get all of our content. Oh, Miss Odette the Diva wants to show up. Hey, Miss, why are you eating chicken bones while I'm on the air? Why aren't you answering me? Oh, because you're a dog. Right. Anyway, if you want to read more of Thunderdome, Max Murphy's articles, go to vendettasportsmedia.com. You primarily do NFL stuff, correct?
Yeah.
So what are you gonna be writing about during the off season? Do you have any idea? Are you gonna move over to the NBA side, or are you going to the NHL side, or are you just gonna be lazy?
Definitely not gonna be lazy.
Are you waiting for the USFL to start playing? Is that what you're gonna do?
I mean, maybe. I did a little college lacrosse last year, so I might get back into that when the season starts. But
okay.
Primarily NFL right now.
Fair enough. And of course, Jackson, you mentioned that you have an end of the year article in the works right now. What else are you working on?
Just like some NBA videos and stuff, like talking just in general, some other stuff in the pipeline. You know how it goes.
Yeah, I hear you. And of course, me and Miss Odette are going to be doing some walking and, doing some obedience training. And I'll be doing this show every Tuesday evening, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and live here on Twitch TV /Vendetta Sports Media. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks, Thunderdome, for coming on. Maybe we'll have you on.
Thank you for having me.
We'll have you on. We'll do a NFL playoffs show. We'll come on and we'll discuss. We'll go over the storylines and discuss it here and there. Next week, we're gonna hopefully be able to get Josh Taylor on of Odyssey Sports 93.7 The Fan here in Pittsburgh. We're gonna talk final week of the NFL.
Yeah. Sort of. Josh and I 100% got to talk about the Razorbacks taking it to Penn State in the Outback Bowl. Woo pig, baby!
I'm a big KJ Jefferson guy. That guy's pretty good.
Yeah.
Won me some money over the weekend.
Yeah, hey, Courtney, shoot a message to Josh Taylor. Make sure he'll be good for us for next week, because it seems like we're going to be having some discussion. Other than that, Max, where can folks find you on social media?
I think my Twitter is MT_Murphy18. I'm not exactly sure, but that's.
How do you not know your Twitter, my dude?
I just don't use it that much. I'm pretty sure it's MT. Yeah, there it is.
Yep, there it is.
Murphy18. Yeah.
All right. And you can also check out his articles on vendettasportsmedia.com. For Jackson Law, JLaw95. He's always got something going on there as well. for the show. If you want to follow the show on Twitter at Tanndemonium VSM, a new Twitter poll is going to be going up tomorrow. Instead of just doing Steeler games, I am actually going to start putting up a poll. Which games do you want me to live tweet? All right. But here's the rule. You've got to be following the show. And then if whichever game wins, I will give you a shout out on next week's show for making that selection. All right. So just go to @Tanndemonium VSM on Twitter, and we'll actually start next week. We'll even do a setup for which playoff, because after next Monday, I think it is, that's when the NFL season is going to be done. We're going to know what we're going to have for playoffs, so we'll have that set up as well. So with that being said, Thunderdome, Max Murphy, Jackson Law, I'm Bryan Tann. Stay tuned on the Twitch channel for the Vendetta Sports Media emergency press conference held by Uncle Trey himself, Trey
Big
Gobbert.
news. Huge news.
Huge news. I mean, absolutely huge. The last thing that was this exciting with Vendetta was when I came on. I'm messing with you. That's not the case at all. But with that being said, we'll see you guys next week. Happy New Year to you. Take care.